Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about a failed breakout that happened on Bitcoin at around 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this morning, where we saw Bitcoin rallied very quickly, all the way up to around $3,675 here on Coinbase. If we look here on the minute chart, we can see this happened very quickly. Over the course of 3 minutes, Bitcoin jumped a couple of percentage points, but unfortunately, this did not result in an actual bullish rally. Very quickly, the bears took over and rejected us, and ever since then, Bitcoin has been trending to the downside. Now, even though this only happened over the span of about 15 minutes, this is actually a very major development for Bitcoin, because what it means is that Bitcoin failed to break bullish above important levels of resistance, above important downtrends of resistance, and above critical points in the market that Bitcoin wanted to get above so that it could start a new rally and start continuing to move to the upside. We're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video, guys, because this is actually rather important and it may signal more bearishness to come for Bitcoin. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. If you guys haven't been watching the market, Bitcoin is trading around $3,571 on Coinbase, a little bit higher than that across all exchanges. And over the last 24 to 48 hours or so, Bitcoin had been trending to the upside here, moving up, and it all culminated in this very tall wick right here. And this is the man of the hour. This is the important thing that we want to be looking at, that little wick. And if we look here on the 5-minute chart, we can see just how quickly this formed. And if we look here, especially on the minute chart, like we said a second ago, we can see just how quickly this actually managed to happen. These are minute candlesticks, and over the course of 3 minutes, starting at 5:25 a.m. this morning, Eastern Standard Time in the United States, Bitcoin rallied very quickly and fell over indeed. Now, I want to talk about that in a lot of detail in today's video because, like I said, that may be signaling more bearish price action to come. But before we get on to that, let's go ahead and do the crypto market recap by jumping on over to CoinMarketCap. Anyway, Bitcoin across all exchanges currently is trading around $3,627. Remember, there's a discrepancy between the Coinbase Bitcoin and the Bitfinex Bitcoin. It is rather annoying, but that is the way it's been for the last couple of months. Bitcoin is down by about 0.5% over the last 24 hours. Nothing major, but definitely indicative of some bearishness, and the rest of the market is kind of following suit. We can see that we've moved downwards a little bit. Ethereum has started to rally a little bit, only up by about 2%, but it's doing better than the rest of the top 10 because all of them are in the red. There's not a single gainer in the top 10 other than Ethereum in today's video. And if we sort by change over the last 24 hours, we're going to see that there are some cryptocurrencies doing well. KuCoin shares Storage, great name by the way, ARK and Gas are all up over 10%. I can speak this English thing. And anyway, we'll see that the vast majority of the market is red, probably about 60 to 70% of the cryptocurrency. So maybe I shouldn't say the vast majority, but especially the vast majority in the top 25 or so are in the red. It's not a very deep red, but we do see that it's a pretty red day today. Anyway, continuing on, before I get into this, there are a couple things I want to talk about on the shorts and the longs charts, and that is ever since we saw this spike in Bitcoin's price action a couple of hours ago, 4 hours ago or so, just a little bit after that happened, starting at around 6 or 7 a.m. this morning, around 5 a.m., right around that same time, Bitcoin's shorts started to rally very quickly. As we can see right here, after Bitcoin failed that breakout, Bitcoin shorts had a very major rally. Now, it's not the biggest rally in the world. It was 4.5%, but considering that happened in the span of a couple of minutes, over the span of an hour or so, we can see that over the span of half an hour or so, we saw the majority of these shorts come in. We've seen a lot of shorts come in very quickly. All told, we're looking at about a 7% increase in Bitcoin shorts. That is indicative of something because that is a major move, and it does line up almost perfectly with that failed breakout we saw on Bitcoin. That's not exactly a good thing. That is also indicative that we may be seeing some bearish price action to come here over the next couple of days. Now, over the last couple of videos, I have been talking about how I was more bullish on Bitcoin, and I was hoping that Bitcoin would have some kind of bullish breakout, and as we've seen here, Bitcoin has attempted it, and so far, anyway, has failed it. There's a good chance that Bitcoin rallies again here, moves back up, and attempts a breakout again and succeeds, but for the time being, anyway, I'm a little bit more bearish than bullish, and I know I keep changing on this every single day. It's because the market keeps changing every single day, and when the market updates, you have to be able to take into account new intelligence and new data on the market. Based on this failed rally, I would say that we're a little bit more bearish right now than bullish. We see that the shorts have increased, but also the longs have increased. This is really interesting because the shorts and the longs are going up. A lot of times, I've talked about before how when the shorts and the longs are both going up, or when they're both going down, you can say that the volatility is going up or down, and the volume is going up and down, and the retail investor interest is going up and down. If the shorts and the longs are going up, then it typically means that more money is flowing into the market because people are making shorts and longs, they're not closing their longs for shorts or vice versa. But another thing that you can take from this is that when there's shorts and longs both going up, a lot of times I also take that to be I kind of take that as a sign of tension in the market. Kind of like how when two continents come together, they kind of push up or they push down. And if they push up, they form this mountain range of tension. And that's kind of what we're seeing with the shorts and the longs. They're both going up. Both the shorts and the longs are going up. And that tension, the mountain range, is going to eventually come apart in an earthquake and see Bitcoin rally very quickly or crash very quickly. And one of those sides, the bears or the bulls, are going to be the victors, and they are going to be the ones that called the market correctly. Anyway, coming back out to the, to the hourly chart, I want to start here. There's a couple things I want to show you that have updated. We can see now that we were talking about in yesterday's video, I believe it was, how Bitcoin was bullish on the MACD. Now that is no longer the case. Bitcoin is currently extremely bearish on the MACD and is moving back below the zero level on the histogram, something definitely to keep in mind. I also want to show you guys the Heikin-Ashi chart because the Heikin-Ashi chart is very, very powerful. We can see that Bitcoin's Heikin-Ashi was green here for quite some time. Saw a lot of green. We saw some green over here, but unfortunately Heikin-Ashi has turned red and we have seen it move to the downside. A lot of times when you see a color change in Heikin-Ashi, that will be paired with a crossing on the MACD, and that is also what we've seen here today. We've seen a crossing on the MACD, a bearish cross with some red on the Heikin-Ashi. If we go ahead and move on out to the 4-hourly chart back on our normal candlesticks, we're going to see a very similar story. If we look back out here, we're going to see that Bitcoin has turned red over the last couple of candlesticks, and we did just in the last 4 hours or so see a bearish cross on the MACD. That's very unfortunate because the last time we saw one of those was back over here on February the 10th, and we didn't really see a whole lot of goodness come out of that. And the fact that we've seen another bearish cross isn't exactly what I wanted to see coming out of Bitcoin, and that may actually spell the end of this potential for Bitcoin to be breaking bullish above one of these downtrends of resistance that we've drawn here, in this kind of zone of resistance, and moving to the upside. It might actually be spelling the end for that. But if we move out here to the daily chart, something actually looks a bit different, because this move that we've seen here over the last 4 hours or so hasn't really been long enough, and it hasn't really been big enough to show up very well on the daily chart. So we are still bullish on the daily MACD. We can see down here we are still bullish. We're sitting up here still kind of in this overbought territory on stochastic RSI, but I do like to see that we're still bullish on the daily MACD. Now, with all of that in mind, all those technicals in mind on three different time intervals, let's think about where Bitcoin is going to be headed here over the next couple of days. Because the fact that Bitcoin attempted a breakout right here, a Bitcoin breakout was attempted right here and was not actually successful and crashed again, like I said, is a sign of bearishness. But what that does not mean, that Bitcoin can't break bullish. That does not mean that Bitcoin cannot continue trading sideways here and try to break bullish again in 2 or 3 days or even tomorrow. Guys, one thing you have to understand is that Bitcoin has been very volatile here over the last couple of days. It hasn't been very volatile in the size of the price action, but we have seen a lot of bullish moves, bearish moves, bullish moves, bearish moves, and we've seen a lot of oscillation between the direction of the market. And this could just be one of those examples. Now, it does look like Bitcoin is slightly more bearish now than it was a couple days ago, but like I said, like I said in yesterday's video, and like I said earlier in this video, just because the market looks bearish, just because a lot of the technicals are pointing bearish, does not necessarily mean that the market is going to go bearish. This is a game of statistics and probabilities. It is not an absolute certainty. So if we say that a lot of our technicals are pointing bearish, Bitcoin can very easily go bullish. It's just a game of statistics and probabilities, and that's why you have to be ready for whatever Bitcoin is going to do. So what you can do in this situation is that you could have some kind of level of support down here. Draw it on your chart. That is a very obvious level of support that we're currently trading over. And we could say that we wanted to have a stop limit order, a stop loss, to sell our Bitcoin if Bitcoin fell below here, to catch ourselves if Bitcoin broke bearish and started to bark all the way down like we've been talking about. And you could also have some buy orders sitting up here right above these levels of resistance up here somewhere. Or since you don't want something like this to happen again, you could even think about buying some right now and having a very tight stop loss in case we break bearish. There's a lot of different ways you can go about trading this market, even if you're not totally sure which direction the market is going to go. And that is still one of the beautiful things about technical analysis, is that even sometimes when your technical analysis doesn't work, it's always better when your technical analysis is clear and giving you a clear signal. But sometimes even when it's not giving you a very clear signal, then you can always be ready for what the market is going to do no matter what happens. Anyway, I just knocked something over on my desk. Tell me in the comment section down below which direction you think Bitcoin is going to break here over the next 24 to 48 hours, or if it's going to break out at all. Is Bitcoin going to continue trading sideways here? I would love to hear your opinions in the comments section down below. I'm also interested to hear your opinions on what I said earlier about the Bitcoin shorts and the Bitcoin longs, because I haven't really seen anyone talk about how when the Bitcoin shorts and the Bitcoin longs go up, it's kind of a tension building. It's kind of like how let's say you have a basketball game and both of the teams have 80 points, and they both have a ton of points, the tension kind of builds. You're like, okay, well, who's going to break the tension? Who's going to make the last three-point shot and win the game? I don't play basketball, so I probably just butchered all the terminology. I'll get butchered in the comment section for that. Anyway, like I said, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of those analogies for the Bitcoin shorts and longs, and tell me which direction you think the market's going to be going over the next couple of days. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. Kind of a short one, but we didn't have a ton to talk about. We will be getting back to some longer form videos here over the next couple of days as the market more than likely starts to do more interesting things and we start talking about more longer term technical analysis. That's another thing I wanted to ask for you guys. If you have any questions that you would like to ask for a future video or any topics that you'd like to see made into a video here on the channel, feel more than happy to tell me about them in the comments section down below. But anyway, guys, that is actually going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.